Emotions can feel like a raging storm, can't they? One moment you're on top of the world and the next you're drowning in despair. Picture this. You're in a heated argument, your heart races, and suddenly your words become daggers. What if I told you that mastering your emotions is not just a luxury but a necessity? Imagine the power you could wield if you learned to navigate your feelings instead of letting them pull you under. Every day we face choices: react or respond, explode or stay calm. Have you ever wondered what separates those who thrive from those who merely survive? It all starts with understanding the waves of emotion that crash over us. But here's the kicker. Most people react without thinking, letting their emotions dictate their actions. What if you could flip the script? Consider this. The next time anger surges or sadness creeps in, what if you paused? What if you took a breath and observed instead of reacting? That's where true power lies. In the moments of silence between stimulus and response, we find clarity. So, how do we seize that control? Let's dive deeper into the art of emotional mastery. If you're looking for more emotional balance, clarity in decision-making, and want to learn how to handle life better, this content is for you. So go ahead and leave a like and subscribe to the channel, because with each video you'll grow stronger on the inside and see life with greater wisdom. Emotional self-awareness. When I first started to dive into the depths of my own emotions, I realized how crucial it is to truly understand what I'm feeling and why. It's like peeling back the layers of an onion. Each layer reveals something new and often surprising. I began to notice patterns in my emotions that I hadn't recognized before. For instance, I'd feel an overwhelming sense of frustration when faced with certain situations, and I had to ask myself, what exactly triggered that? Was it a specific comment from someone or a situation that felt out of control? This self-inquiry was eye-opening. As I continued this journey of emotional self-discovery, I found that identifying my emotional triggers was like having a roadmap for my reactions. I could anticipate how I might respond to certain stressors and prepare myself accordingly. It was empowering to realize that while I might not be able to control every situation, I could control how I reacted to them. This understanding has allowed me to approach challenges with a clearer mind and a more grounded heart. Moreover, I've learned that emotional self-awareness isn't just about recognizing negative feelings. It's also about acknowledging the positive ones. Celebrating joy, contentment, and excitement has become just as important to me as identifying anger or sadness. I started practicing gratitude daily, which has transformed my emotional landscape. By being aware of the good feelings, I could cultivate a more balanced emotional experience overall. Another realization was that emotions are not static, they ebb and flow. This understanding has made me more patient with myself during tough times. Instead of thinking, why am I feeling this way? I now ask, what can I learn from this feeling? This shift in perspective has helped me to navigate emotional storms with greater resilience. I've come to view my emotions as valuable teachers rather than obstacles. Lastly, I discovered that sharing my emotional experiences with trusted friends or a therapist has deepened my self-awareness even further. Talking things out not only helps me articulate what I feel but also reveals insights I might not have uncovered alone. In these conversations, I've found that vulnerability can foster connection, allowing me to better understand myself and the emotions that shape my interactions with others. Identifying emotions. Recognizing emotions as they arise is a skill I've found to be incredibly useful. At first, I thought it was enough to just feel something, but I quickly learned that naming those feelings is where the real power lies. I started using techniques like checking in with myself throughout the day. It often goes like this. I pause, take a deep breath, and ask, what am I feeling right now? This simple practice has helped me catch emotions in the moment rather than letting them bubble up and explode later. I found that keeping a mental note of my emotional states helped me to become more in tune with my feelings. For instance, I noticed that I often felt anxious before meetings. By identifying that emotion early on, I could take proactive steps to calm my nerves, like practicing deep breathing or visualizing a successful outcome. This awareness has turned what used to be a chaotic experience into one that feels more manageable. Another technique that worked for me was creating a feelings chart. It sounds simple, but having a visual representation of different emotions has been a game changer. When I find myself feeling overwhelmed, I can look at the chart and pinpoint what I might be experiencing, whether it's frustration, sadness, or even joy. This practice not only helps me articulate my emotions better but also allows me to communicate them to others when needed. In conversations, I've learned to ask myself, how does this situation make me feel? It's a habit I've cultivated to ensure I'm not just reacting impulsively but responding from a place of awareness. This practice has made my interactions richer and more meaningful. Instead of just going through the motions, I'm engaged and present, which has positively impacted my relationships. Lastly, I've come to appreciate the role of journaling in identifying emotions. Writing down what I'm feeling has become a therapeutic outlet for me. On days when emotions run high, I can sit down and let it all out on paper. This act of writing not only helps me to clarify what I'm experiencing but also allows me to reflect on those feelings later. Over time, I've been able to identify trends and patterns, which provides valuable insights into my emotional life. Mindfulness and emotional awareness. Mindfulness has become an integral part of my emotional journey. Initially, I approached it with skepticism, thinking it was just another trend. But once I committed to practicing mindfulness, I discovered its profound impact on my emotional awareness. Simply put, being present in the moment has allowed me to observe my emotions without judgment. It's like being a spectator at a game rather than a player on the field. One of my favorite mindfulness practices involves focusing on my breath. When I focus on inhaling and exhaling, it creates a pause between stimulus and response. This pause gives me the space to recognize an emotion as it arises. Instead of reacting automatically, I can choose how to respond, whether that's taking a deep breath, walking away, or addressing the situation calmly. This newfound ability to pause has been incredibly empowering. I also found that incorporating mindfulness into daily activities has made a significant difference. Whether I'm eating, walking, or even washing dishes, I try to engage fully in the experience. By doing this, I've learned to appreciate small moments, which has positively affected my emotional state. For instance, while eating, I pay attention to the flavors and textures, which brings a sense of joy and satisfaction that I often overlooked. Mindfulness has also taught me the art of self-compassion. When I experience difficult emotions, I remind myself that it's okay to feel what I'm feeling. Instead of criticizing myself for being sad or anxious, I practice self-kindness. This shift has made it easier to navigate tough emotions without getting stuck, allowing me to move through them with grace. Lastly, I've discovered that mindfulness can enhance my ability to connect with others. When I'm fully present during conversations, I can listen more deeply and respond more thoughtfully. This has not only improved my relationships but has also fostered a sense of community and belonging. By being emotionally aware and mindful, I'm contributing to a more supportive environment for myself and those around me. Breathing techniques. Breathing techniques have become my go-to tools for managing stress and anxiety. I'll never forget the first time I consciously focused on my breath during a particularly stressful moment. I was overwhelmed and it felt like my mind was racing. But then I remembered a simple technique: inhaling deeply through my nose, holding the breath for a few seconds, and then exhaling slowly through my mouth. It was like flipping a switch. Suddenly I felt more grounded. Since then, I've incorporated various breathing exercises into my daily routine. One of my favorites is the 4-7-8 technique. I inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 7, and exhale for 8. This method not only calms my mind but also lowers my heart rate. I find myself using it before meetings, presentations, or any situation that triggers anxiety. The effects are almost instantaneous and I walk away feeling more centered. Another technique I've enjoyed is box breathing. It's simple and effective. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and then hold again for 4. The rhythmic nature of this practice helps me regain focus and clarity during moments of panic. I often use this technique when I'm feeling overwhelmed at work or when I need to make a tough decision. Breathing exercises have also become a ritual for me before bedtime. I've started a routine where I dedicate a few minutes to deep breathing, letting go of the day's stress. This practice has improved my sleep quality significantly. By calming my mind and body, I'm able to transition into a more restful state, which is crucial for managing my overall emotional well-being. Lastly, I've learned that sharing these breathing techniques with friends and family has turned into a bonding experience. We often practice together, whether in person or over video calls. It's remarkable how something as simple as breath can connect us on a deeper level, helping us navigate our individual emotional landscapes while also supporting one another. Cognitive restructuring. Cognitive restructuring has been a revelation for me in terms of managing negative emotions. I used to spiral into negative thinking patterns without realizing it. I'd dwell on mistakes or perceive situations in a way that amplified my anxiety. But once I learned about cognitive restructuring, I began to challenge those distorted thoughts actively. It felt like gaining a new superpower, the ability to reshape my thought patterns. The first step was recognizing when I was engaging in negative self-talk. It often sounded like, "I can't do this," or "I always mess things up." Once I identified these thoughts, I started asking myself whether they were based on facts or assumptions. This critical examination opened my eyes to the reality that many of my fears were unfounded. I began replacing those negative thoughts with more balanced and realistic ones. Instead of saying, "I'll fail," I'd remind myself, "I've succeeded before and I can handle this." I also practiced reframing situations to see them in a more positive light. For instance, if I faced criticism at work, instead of viewing it as a personal attack, I'd tell myself it was an opportunity for growth. This shift in perspective not only eased my emotional distress but also motivated me to improve. It's amazing how a small change in thought can lead to significant emotional relief. Additionally, I started keeping a thought diary. Whenever I felt overwhelmed by negative emotions, I'd jot down the thoughts that were racing through my mind. This practice helped me visualize my thought patterns and identify recurring themes. Over time, I noticed that many of my fears were exaggerated, and this realization empowered me to challenge them more effectively. Lastly, I found that discussing my cognitive restructuring. Emotional diary. Keeping an emotional diary has been a game changer for me. When I first started this practice, I didn't realize how much clarity it would bring to my emotional landscape. Every evening, I take a few moments to jot down the emotions I experienced throughout the day. Whether it was joy, anger, sadness, or something else entirely, I find that writing them down helps me to process and understand them better. It's not just about recording feelings, it's about reflecting on them. As I review my entries over time, patterns start to emerge. I can see which situations consistently trigger certain emotions and how my reactions evolve. This awareness enables me to anticipate my emotional responses in similar future situations. For instance, if I notice that I feel anxious every time I have a work presentation, I can prepare myself for that feeling ahead of time. It's like having a roadmap for my emotional journey. I can navigate through the bumps and turns with greater ease. Moreover, writing in my diary has helped me to articulate my feelings more clearly. Sometimes I find it difficult to express what I'm going through verbally, but when I write, the words flow more naturally. This has not only improved my self-understanding but has also enhanced my communication with others. When I share my feelings with friends or family, I can do so with confidence because I have already sorted through them in my diary. I also enjoy looking back at my entries from time to time. It's fascinating to see how I've grown and changed emotionally. What once seemed overwhelming now feels manageable, and I can appreciate the progress I've made. This retrospective view reinforces the idea that emotions are transient, they change and evolve just like we do. Lastly, I found that my emotional diary serves as a safe space. There's a certain comfort in knowing that I can express my deepest thoughts and feelings without judgment. This practice has fostered a sense of self-acceptance and has encouraged me to embrace my emotional complexity, rather than shy away from it. Empathy and active listening. Empathy and active listening are skills that I've come to value immensely in my interactions with others. Initially, I thought empathy was just about feeling sorry for someone, but I soon realized it's so much deeper than that. It's about putting myself in someone else's shoes, understanding their emotions and responding with compassion. When I genuinely listen to someone, I find that it not only helps them feel heard but also allows me to connect with them on a more profound level. Active listening requires practice. It's not enough to just hear the words someone is saying, I have to engage with them. I make a conscious effort to maintain eye contact, nod in agreement, and ask clarifying questions. This approach has transformed the way I communicate. I'm no longer just waiting for my turn to speak, I'm fully present in the conversation. This shift has led to richer interactions and more fulfilling relationships. One of the most surprising benefits I've discovered is how empathy can help me manage my own emotions. When I'm focused on someone else's feelings, I find that my own emotional reactions become less intense. It's almost as if my attention shifts away from my problems, giving me a moment of respite. This doesn't mean I ignore my own feelings. Rather, I learn to balance them with the understanding of others' experiences. I've also noticed that practicing empathy encourages vulnerability in my relationships. When I open up and share my own feelings, it often prompts others to do the same. This creates a safe space for emotional expression, fostering deeper connections. I've come to appreciate how vulnerability can be a bridge rather than a barrier in relationships. Lastly, embracing empathy and active listening has enriched my personal growth. Every interaction becomes an opportunity to learn and expand my emotional intelligence. I gain insights not only into other people's experiences but also into my own emotional responses. It's a continuous cycle of understanding that enhances both my relationships and my self-awareness. Emotional regulation. Emotional regulation is a topic that has intrigued me for quite some time. For years, I struggled with managing my emotions, often feeling overwhelmed by their intensity. Learning how to regulate my emotions has empowered me to respond to situations more effectively. Rather than letting my emotions dictate my actions, I've developed strategies that allow me to pause and choose how to react. One of the first strategies I adopted was identifying my emotional triggers. By understanding what situations or behaviors tend to set me off, I can prepare myself mentally and emotionally. For instance, I know that being criticized can trigger feelings of anger or inadequacy in me. Knowing this, I can remind myself to take a deep breath and approach feedback with an open mind, rather than allowing my initial reaction to take control. Another technique that has proven beneficial is the practice of reframing my thoughts. When I feel a wave of negative emotions, I challenge those thoughts by asking myself questions. Is this thought based on facts? What evidence do I have to support it? This cognitive restructuring helps me to see situations from different perspectives, often leading to more constructive emotional responses. Mindfulness has also played a significant role in my emotional regulation journey. By practicing mindfulness meditation, I've learned to observe my emotions without judgment. Instead of getting swept away by them, I acknowledge their presence and allow them to pass. This practice has been liberating. I no longer feel the need to suppress or ignore my emotions, but rather to accept them as part of my human experience. Lastly, I've found that having a toolbox of coping strategies is invaluable. Whether it's taking a walk, practicing deep breathing, or engaging in a hobby, having these tools at my disposal allows me to manage my emotional state more effectively. I've learned that it's okay to take a step back and give myself the space I need to recalibrate. This proactive approach to emotional regulation has made a significant difference in my overall well-being. Healthy expression of emotions. Expressing emotions in a healthy way has been a transformative aspect of my emotional journey. For a long time, I struggled to communicate my feelings, often bottling them up until they exploded. I realized that this approach was not only damaging to my mental health but also to my relationships. Learning to express my emotions constructively has been essential in fostering understanding and connection with others. One of the first steps I took was to identify my feelings clearly. Rather than simply saying I'm angry or sad, I've learned to articulate the nuances of my emotions. For instance, instead of just saying I'm angry about a situation, I might explain that I feel frustrated because I feel unheard. This level of specificity not only helps me understand myself better but also allows others to grasp the depth of my emotions. I've also embraced the idea of using I statements when communicating my feelings. For example, instead of saying, "You never listen to me," I might say, "I feel overlooked when I'm not heard." This shift in language has made a significant difference in how my emotions are received by others. It invites dialogue rather than defensiveness, fostering a more open and understanding conversation. Additionally, I've learned to choose the right time and place for discussing my emotions. There's a time and a place for everything, and I've discovered that addressing my feelings in a calm and safe environment leads to more productive conversations. I make it a priority to express my emotions when I feel grounded and clear-headed, rather than in the heat of the moment. Another key aspect of healthy emotional expression is seeking feedback. When I share my feelings with someone, I often ask for their perspective. This not only shows that I value their input but also helps me to gain insights I may not have considered. It creates a collaborative atmosphere where emotions can be explored together, rather than a one-sided monologue. Lastly, I've found creative outlets to be invaluable for expressing my emotions. Whether it's through writing, art, or music, these activities provide a safe space for me to channel my feelings. Engaging in creative expression allows me to process my emotions in a way that feels authentic and liberating. It's a reminder that emotions, when expressed healthily, can be a source of beauty and connection rather than conflict. Relaxation techniques. In my quest for emotional balance, I've discovered the profound impact of relaxation techniques. Life can often feel overwhelming, and I found myself frequently battling stress and anxiety. Incorporating relaxation practices into my routine has been a game changer for my emotional health. It's not just about finding a moment of peace, it's about cultivating a deeper sense of calm that permeates my daily life. One of the first relaxation techniques I explored was deep breathing. It may sound simple, but I can't emphasize enough how powerful this practice is. Whenever I feel tension creeping in, I take a moment to focus on my breath. I inhale deeply through my nose, hold for a few seconds, and then exhale slowly through my mouth. This practice not only helps to ground me but also activates my body's relaxation response, allowing me to approach challenges with a clearer mind. Meditation has also become an integral part of my relaxation routine. I initially struggled to sit still and quiet my mind, but with practice I've learned to embrace the stillness. Whether it's a guided meditation or simply sitting in silence, this practice has taught me to observe my thoughts and emotions without judgment. It's a space where I can recharge and reconnect with myself, creating a sanctuary amidst the chaos of daily life. Progressive muscle relaxation is another technique that has proven effective for me. By systematically tensing and then relaxing different muscle groups, I've learned to release physical tension that often accompanies emotional stress. This practice not only alleviates physical discomfort but also serves as a reminder to check in with my body and acknowledge the connection between physical and emotional well-being. Nature has also played a significant role in my relaxation journey. I've discovered that spending time outdoors, whether it's a walk in the park or simply sitting in my backyard, has a calming effect. The importance of sleep. I've always known that sleep is vital, but it wasn't until I started paying closer attention to my emotional well-being that I realized just how critical quality sleep is for emotional control. It's like a reset button for my brain. When I get a good night's rest, I wake up feeling refreshed, my mind clear, and my emotions in check. Conversely, on those nights when I toss and turn, I find myself more irritable and prone to emotional outbursts. The connection between sleep and mood is undeniable, and it's something I've learned to prioritize in my daily routine. Research backs this up, showing that sleep deprivation can significantly impact mood and emotional resilience. A lack of sleep can lead to increased levels of stress hormones, which makes it harder for me to manage my emotions effectively. I've noticed that when I'm sleep deprived, even minor annoyances feel magnified. It's as if my emotional threshold lowers, and I become more reactive to situations that usually wouldn't bother me. This awareness has motivated me to create a bedtime routine that promotes better sleep hygiene. One of the best changes I made was to establish a consistent sleep schedule. Going to bed and waking up at the same time every day has helped my body recognize when it's time to wind down. I've also reduced my screen time before bed, finding that those blue light-emitting devices can interfere with my ability to fall asleep. Instead, I've started reading or journaling in the evenings, activities that help calm my mind and prepare me for a restful night. Additionally, I've learned the importance of my sleep environment. Keeping my bedroom dark, quiet, and cool has made a noticeable difference. I've invested in blackout curtains and a white noise machine, which together create a peaceful sanctuary for sleep. When I prioritize this environment, I wake up feeling more equipped to handle whatever emotional challenges the day may bring. In conclusion, recognizing the significance of sleep and emotional regulation has been a game-changer for me. I've come to understand that quality sleep isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity for maintaining a balanced emotional state. By implementing better sleep habits, I feel more resilient and capable of navigating life's ups and downs. Physical activity and emotions. Exercise has become a crucial part of my emotional toolkit. I've always known that moving my body is good for my physical health, but I didn't fully grasp how much it could impact my emotions until I started incorporating regular workouts into my routine. There's something about breaking a sweat that clears my mind and lifts my spirits. Whether it's hitting the gym, going for a run, or even just taking a brisk walk, I can feel the tension melting away with each movement. The science behind this is fascinating. Physical activity releases endorphins, often referred to as the body's natural mood lifters. I can attest to this. After a good workout, I often feel an immediate boost in my mood. It's as if all the stress and negativity I was holding onto evaporates, leaving me feeling lighter and more optimistic. I've learned to view exercise not just as a physical endeavor, but as a powerful tool for emotional regulation. On days when I'm feeling particularly down or anxious, I make it a point to move my body. I've noticed that even a short burst of activity can shift my emotional state. For instance, if I'm feeling overwhelmed, a quick 20-minute home workout can do wonders for my mindset. It's like hitting the refresh button on my emotions. I've also found that group classes or team sports help me connect with others, which adds a social element that further enhances my mood. Another aspect of physical activity that I've come to appreciate is its role in building resilience. Regular exercise has taught me discipline and commitment, which translates into other areas of my life. When I push through a tough workout, I remind myself that I'm capable of overcoming challenges, both physically and emotionally. This sense of empowerment spills over into my everyday interactions and decision-making. Ultimately, I've found that making exercise a priority has profound benefits for my emotional health. It's not just about fitting into my favorite jeans, it's about cultivating a positive mindset and enhancing my overall well-being. By embracing physical activity, I feel more equipped to tackle life's challenges with a smile. Setting boundaries. Setting boundaries has been a game-changer in my emotional landscape. For a long time, I struggled with saying no, often overcommitting myself and leaving little room for my own needs. This led to feelings of resentment and emotional exhaustion. It wasn't until I realized the importance of boundaries that I started to reclaim my emotional well-being. Learning to set limits has empowered me to prioritize my mental health, and I've noticed a significant improvement in my overall mood. At first, setting boundaries felt uncomfortable. I worried about disappointing others or being perceived as selfish. However, I quickly learned that healthy boundaries are essential for maintaining relationships and self-respect. I've started communicating my needs clearly, whether it's about my time, energy, or emotional space. This openness has fostered more honest relationships, and I've found that most people appreciate my clarity rather than resenting me for it. One of the most effective boundary-setting strategies I've adopted is to assess my own limits. I take time to reflect on what I can realistically handle without feeling overwhelmed. This self-awareness has been crucial in preventing burnout. For instance, I've learned to decline invitations when I'm feeling drained or to ask for support when I need it. By prioritizing my own needs, I can show up more fully for others when I do engage. Additionally, I've recognized that boundaries aren't just about saying no, they're also about fostering positive interactions. I've made it a point to establish boundaries around how I engage with others, ensuring that my relationships are mutually beneficial. I've discovered that when I communicate my preferences, it encourages others to do the same, creating a more supportive environment for everyone involved. In summary, setting boundaries has empowered me to protect my emotional health. I've learned that it's okay to put myself first sometimes, and in doing so, I'm better equipped to support those I care about. Establishing these limits has transformed my relationships and allowed me to cultivate a healthier emotional landscape. Social support and support networks. I used to think that I could handle everything on my own, but I quickly learned that having a solid support network is crucial for emotional well-being. Friends and family play a vital role in helping me navigate life's ups and downs. There's something comforting about knowing that I have people I can turn to when I'm feeling overwhelmed or uncertain. Having a support system has made me realize that I don't have to face challenges alone. I can lean on others for guidance and comfort. The power of social support lies in its ability to provide perspective. When I'm stuck in my own thoughts, it can be easy to magnify my problems. However, talking things out with a trusted friend often helps me see things from a different angle. They can offer insights or simply listen, which helps me process my emotions more effectively. I've found that the act of sharing my feelings can be incredibly cathartic, releasing some of the pressure I feel inside. Additionally, my support network serves as a reminder that I'm not alone in my struggles. We all face challenges, and knowing that others have gone through similar experiences makes me feel less isolated. I've come to appreciate the importance of vulnerability in building connections. When I share my challenges, it encourages others to open up about theirs, creating a safe space for mutual support. Moreover, I've learned that it's essential to invest in these relationships actively. I make an effort to reach out to friends and family regularly, checking in and offering my support when they need it. This reciprocity strengthens our bonds and helps us all feel more connected. Being part of a supportive community has enriched my life in ways I never expected. In conclusion, embracing social support has been transformative for my emotional health. I no longer shy away from seeking help. Instead, I view it as a strength. By nurturing my relationships and fostering a supportive environment, I feel more equipped to navigate life's challenges with resilience and grace. Proactivity in challenging situations. Life is full of surprises and not all of them are pleasant. I used to react impulsively when faced with challenges, often letting my emotions dictate my response. However, I've learned the value of being proactive and anticipating potential stressors. By preparing myself for challenging situations, I can manage my emotions more effectively and respond in a way that aligns with my values. One of the strategies I've found helpful is to identify potential triggers ahead of time. I've started keeping a mental list of situations that typically cause me stress or anxiety. For instance, I know that crowded social events can be overwhelming for me. By acknowledging this, I can develop a plan for how to handle these situations in advance, whether it's setting a time limit for my stay or bringing a friend along for support. Moreover, I've learned to practice self-compassion during challenging times. I remind myself that it's okay to feel anxious or upset. These emotions are a natural part of being human. By giving myself permission to feel, I can approach difficult situations with a clearer mind. I've also found it helpful to visualize positive outcomes, imagining how I want to respond in specific scenarios. This mental rehearsal has boosted my confidence and reduced my anxiety. Another proactive approach I've adopted is to develop coping strategies. I've taken the time to explore various techniques, from deep breathing exercises to grounding techniques. Knowing that I have tools at my disposal helps me feel more prepared to handle whatever comes my way. When I'm in the thick of a challenging situation, I can draw on these strategies to regain my composure. Ultimately, embracing a proactive mindset has transformed the way I approach challenges. Instead of feeling at the mercy of my emotions, I've taken charge of my responses. By anticipating. As we wrap up, let's take a moment to reflect. Imagine standing at a crossroads where your emotions can lead you astray or empower you. Which path will you choose? Remember, it's not about suppressing feelings, it's about mastering them. Think about a time when you let anger take the wheel. How did that turn out for you? Now picture this. The next time frustration creeps in, you pause, breathe, and regain control. What would that look like in your life? Every small victory over your emotions builds resilience. Each conscious choice becomes a step toward true autonomy. So I challenge you, this week, identify one emotional trigger. Notice how it affects you, then practice the techniques we've discussed. Can you visualize how powerful you will feel when you respond instead of react? And before you go, let's keep this conversation alive. Drop a comment below sharing your experience. How do you plan to take charge of your emotions? Your journey can inspire others, and together we can cultivate a community of strength and wisdom. Stay curious, stay engaged, and remember, you are the master of your emotions, not the servant. Until next time, keep striving for balance and clarity.